Hey, everybody, and welcome to PlexTrac's Friends Friday podcast. We're excited to have you join us today, and happy Friday. Hope you guys are all looking forward to the weekend as you kind of wrap up the week here. And we're excited to have another fun episode and good discussion today. We're joined with a good friend, Paul Nieto the third. And Paul, I'll let you introduce you here in a second, but really excited to have you here. Thanks for taking some time. This week, we're going to be talking about purple teaming and how you kind of get started in purple teaming, and then just like how the infrastructure is set up to do purple teaming on a continuous basis. So I'm really excited about this topic because it's near and dear to my heart as well. But Paul's been there, done that, and so we're excited to kind of learn from him. But Paul, please introduce yourself, and for our audience that may not know necessarily who you are, so maybe share a little bit about your background too.
Yeah, Paul Nieto. I'm currently a red team operator at Royal Caribbean. Pretty much been off and on in the cybersecurity, offensive security space, pretty much since back in 2015. Technically had a chance to go back in there at my time at GoPro, but I didn't. I was comfortable in physical security. So pretty much, been on the offensive side, like I said, and then doing the hybrid side with physical security and offensive security, building out physical security red teams.
Awesome. Yeah, well, great background, and thanks again for taking time. I know we're all busy, but especially in Q4, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, actually, thankfully, our Q4 is the shutdown due to the sales. No one wants nothing happening for Royal Caribbean, so that's actually kind of a good thing for us. And then it ramps back up after that. So
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because you probably have a lot of you probably have a lot of activity during the holidays. Yep. Like that. So yeah, you want to make sure those ships are running on time.
That's correct.
Well, that's cool. So I mean, I think it kind of leads in. Your background is in red teaming and purple teaming, and we know you've kind of set up a purple teaming activity and program, for better words to call it, within your current organization. So maybe walk us through, kind of the steps of like how you guys got to the point where you could actually feel comfortable doing purple teaming, and then like some of the challenges that you faced, and like maybe lessons learned and stuff like that.
So currently how we have it set up, I'll actually start from the beginning. Jerry and I pretty much started down the path of pen testing, red teaming the same time. 2022 June. Jerry is now our manager. So we branched off and grew the program to where it needs to be, and also still growing as we go. So pretty much now, even though we manage and house PlexTrac, our teammate Christian actually leads and manages and oversees our pen testing projects. Purple teaming projects. So pretty much with that, how we map it out is pretty much they'll set up some TTPs or map out anything from threat actors that are going to target our organization or targeted other organizations similar to us. And we'll map out whatever route of attack to utilize, and we'll pretty much program those into our playbooks, run those against our blue team and or our certain tools. And then also the other kicker is where we'll actually pretty much, not to a degree, but break our new tools that are deployed, especially with everything being slapped with AI on everything, making sure they work correctly. So pretty much we will just hammer it down, making sure that they see it. So like say if we deploy Darktrace, we will go down the ringer and pretty much utilize any kind of attack to make sure that Darktrace does what it says it does. And not just Darktrace, but any other tool, that we, acquire, deploy, and configure. So make sure everything is fine-tuned and configured correctly. So that's pretty much how we currently utilize it right now. And then we are planning to utilize it to our new ship, our new builds. Back when we were doing the blue team aspects, it was pretty much just on an Excel spreadsheet. So we were just pretty much, they would run an attack. We would use the search query, say if it was Splunk, we would add that in the Excel sheet. Did we find it, detect it? Was it undetected, etc. Whereas PlexTrac, it helps us map out everything better, what we did. And you could actually, we're literally working hand in hand with the red team operators and the blue team. So, and also you can see the sequence in the way it's broken down in PlexTrac itself, utilizing the commands, the tools. And then also, we haven't done it yet, but we are getting to the point to hopefully starting in a couple of weeks where we deploy the automation piece, the back end, into ServiceNow to meet SLAs and the ticketing aspect of it.
Yeah, that's cool. So kind of like maybe let's take a step back. So you map out your activities based on like threat intelligence and like threat actors that
Yep.
could. How do you source that information, or like what's some of the techniques to kind of like start the scoping of your engagements?
Yeah, so pretty much, like I said, our teammate Christian would manage that. We also have our cyber threat intel person, which was our former manager, Javi. He would go through that and pick out some of the threat actors, say like Scattered Spider or one of the pandas, et cetera, that
Mm-hmm.
CrowdStrike utilizes. So we'll go off of that. And then again, they're going to be picking off of ones that are either going to be more so to target our organization type, the cruise line, or also some of the what was the one a couple days ago, F5, or if we have any kind of similar gear that is some or critical vulnerability, VMware, et cetera, we will utilize some of those aspects or TTPs and then throw those into the actual purple teaming engagement.
Mm-hmm. Very cool, very cool. And then, so you execute the test, and then, I think what was interesting, what you said is that, and I think I'd like to kind of maybe expand on this a little bit, is like, why I think this is super important is that, purple teaming kind of serves a couple purposes from my perspective. I love your thoughts on this, but like one, definitely being able to emulate, known threat actors, right? And like being able to actually execute those TTPs so that you have visibility as an organization as to whether or not those specific known TTPs would actually work in your environment, right? So you start to gather a good perspective on like what's possible, and what's not,
Yeah,
and you can start to report on that. But then two, you also you highlighted like here's what Darktrace can see, and so you're actually testing the actual efficacy of your security controls, right?
exactly.
And you're able to report on that. And I think those are some of the kind of I would say probably the goals of purple teaming that may get a little bit overlooked, because like pure red teaming, pen testing, it's gonna predominantly tell you like here's what's wrong, here's what we did identify. So like that, obviously that will identify, hey, these security controls should have worked if they were there or whatnot. But it's not necessarily, it's kind of missing some of that of like, here are all the things though that we have tested and that are working, and kind of getting that continuous feedback loop as to like, hey, every time we go run a test, these security controls definitely still do the job, right?
Yes.
Maybe you talked about some of your experiences, like how you got there or whatnot. So
No, yeah, that's correct. Actually, so pretty much utilizing some of the newer tools, like one of the ones we did recently was SoPound, right? Making sure that that is detectable. Number one is going to be our first foothold is going to be CrowdStrike, and then going on from there. So pretty much, if it's going to be a dead end stop at CrowdStrike, 99.9, the other tools are going to see it as well.
mm-hmm.
Just depending on how, not just us, but other people have CrowdStrike configured. So, that's kind of critical and key, making sure that some of these newer techniques and tool sets that are being used in the wild are able to be picked up by our current tools. And I'll just kind of be transparent. We got hit on a red team engagement with SoPound, and that's how we found out about that being able to get past us. And now we pretty much got that mitigated now. That was done from a third party engagement.
Gotcha.
Just going back from the tool set aspect of it, of testing out the tools, right? For me, and I know a lot of organizations have this, some people get a little free-handed with the open checkbooks. They want the latest and greatest. There's a lot of gray area and overlap, and things aren't fine-tuned. So if you could have all the tools in the world, if they're not fine-tuned and configured correctly, they're pretty much going to be useless. They're not going to stop a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to pretty much help us make sure we get not just, the tools we want, but the tools we need to make sure they're able to do the job that they actually say they could do.
Yeah.
And then that goes to fine tune them to best fit our organization and architecture's needs or network's needs.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Is that like we in the cyber industry in general, we're very tool hungry, tool happy,
Yep.
point solution happy too, right? It's like, hey, I got this tool that solves this problem and this problem.
Yeah.
But like, regardless, you still want to make sure that it's doing what you paid for it,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that's the value that purple teaming starts to highlight. Maybe talk to from an audience perspective of like, hey, if they're looking at getting started in purple teaming, did you feel like you had to reach some level of maturity or whatnot before you actually could go there? Or, what would be your advice to folks that maybe like, and what value that it could provide at any point in their kind of the maturity life cycle?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. Pretty much, it's going to depend on the organization, right? Each organization's different, built different, tailored different. I guess for us, we had to reach a certain point to where the value was brought to where our red team actually met a certain level, a minimum level of growth, which we did. And then we were able to, not just grow internally, but also externally ourselves as well, being able to run these different tools and techniques, et cetera. But now we were able to deploy them not just against our tool set, but against our actual blue team, threat hunter, incident response, et cetera. And then the kicker is it's not just to hammer down on the team. It's actually to show them actually what they're good at, what we're good at. That's also a key critical part that's also missing. Purple teaming, I think a lot of people just want to point the finger at the blue team and all the red teams beat you at this. And that's not really necessarily the goal as a team effort. It's about to show what you guys work as a collective, meaning red and blue, quote unquote, purple team, can actually stop and defend and work better, and make sure you actually grow as those tools and techniques develop and mature, down the future with some of these different attack paths or techniques. You also evolve with them as well, and you actually try to stay at top of that. And then also, you actually, the ones you can't, you actually got to build out a plan and try to get there to defend against.
Right. Yeah. So like you're identifying some of the things that are working well, but also you're continuing to identify gaps, and those need to go get resolved. And that kind of feeds into that continuous mindset, right? How often are you doing purple teaming engagements now? How often were you doing them? And like, do you have a goal for a deeper cadence or whatnot? So.
Yeah. So back when we first started, actually a little after 6-8 months when Jerry and I first started, we were only doing them for the new builds. Now, once we got everything fine tuned in PlexTrac, our goal is to at least do one a month. Okay. And then if anything is deployed or needed or asked, say like a new tool gets upgraded or we deploy a new tool, that might be one to just go in and test it. So that might be considered a purple team engagement, or just go in and test this tool. But we would utilize PlexTrac's purple teaming platform, because it's pretty much in sync with what we're doing anyway.
Yeah. And so you started out kind of maybe once every couple, or like new builds, however long whatever that cadence was, and then so I mean, and I think that just kind of shows like it's always an iterative process, right? Of like as people are getting into this, when I was a security director long time ago, we started this was just manual, like with spreadsheets and stuff, but like we kind of picked a tactic of like, hey, we know our environment pretty well. We have an idea of like where our strengths and weaknesses probably will be. So let's find like maybe a tactic that we'll just do some small tests in, and create that kind of that muscle memory or that cadence of being able to do this, and then grow that over time. So I think we picked like lateral movement. It's like, hey, we got a feeling like we're susceptible to some of this, and so that was kind of where we started, and then just kind of progressed to like getting into that continuous mindset was, I think, probably just as important as doing the testing is like doing it on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. And then to touch on that too, the way we're structured, we got a lot of third-party call centers. So that involves a lot of the social engineering. And we actually, it's public knowledge now, we got hit by a scattered spider. So that's one of our main ones that we purple team against. And then also the link, we've had issues where people get stuff on their personal phones, and for whatever reason, they forward it to their work laptop and click it. So once we'll bypass that as we got in, and then purple team take it from there. So that's kind of the route we've been going as well, testing those out frequently.
People are funny, right? It's like, oh, I'll execute this on work because they should catch it, right?
Making sure it's checking just to make sure it works out. Yeah. So, but those are the realities of what happens in any organization. So you have to test against those, whether you like it or not, or they become redundant. I mean, it's going to happen sooner or later if you don't.
Yeah. And how valuable has the blue team found this kind of paradigm to be? Are they, what's kind of been your experience of like kind of convincing the blue team to maybe get on board, or did you have trouble with that, or has everybody kind of, yeah?
Yeah, everyone liked it. They bought into it. We still are trying to standardize our reporting going forward, not just from purple team, red team pen testing, but also threat hunting to utilize PlexTrac and trying to see if there even is a way if incident response could utilize it. I know they do their things a little differently, but if possible, like that would be nice to have everything standardized. That would be awesome. So
cool. So yeah, I mean, I think that like you're living proof of like kind of like the value of that continuous mindset, that continuous evaluation engagements, and that true collaborative nature.
yep.
Like you were kind of highlighting before, it's not just a, hey, we're just bashing on the blue team. It's like, no, we're trying to truly accomplish a mission here collaboratively and together, and so that's really cool. Any last thoughts, about your kind of experience building a purple team, tips and tricks you might, give to the audience, or, in our
Yeah. I would say, don't try to copy tick for tack another organization. Like, from my experience, Box is different from GoPro. GoPro is different from Facebook. Facebook's different from Royal. You got to suit it what's best for your two teams to collaborate collectively, because each organization can have a different tool set, different mindset, different things on how they want to attack certain areas of cybersecurity. So I would say you could get a concrete foundation from somewhere, but also you're gonna have to maneuver it yourself, build it out yourself, and work together. There's gonna be a lot of trial and error, but that would be my best plan of attack to build one out.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think that's very cool. So, well, yeah, no, thanks again for taking time, out of your busy schedule to share some of your learnings and growth on the purple team side. It's always fun to hear. And for our audience, is there anything that you're working on that you want to kind of highlight to them, like whether it's side projects or passion projects or anything like on the conference side, or speaking anywhere, anything like that? If there's anything you want to share, feel free.
Looking forward to speaking at some this coming year. Put in some papers for B-Sides DFW, and then also B-Sides SF as well, coming up right next to RSA. So looking forward to getting into more conferencing in 2026.
Great. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, Paul, thanks again for joining us. And to the rest of you, a happy Friday. I hope you guys all enjoy the weekend. Stay safe, and we'll catch you all on the next time. Thank you very much.